Hello to people of the internet, and welcome back to more Phoenix Wright. The evidence that shows that another murder took place in the evidence room is...
Is it the knife?
No, it's the time code. There's one person that
Oh, the 7777?
Yeah.
Oh, so we get to finally find out who that is.
Yeah.
Alright. Is it Gant?
Yeah.
Yes! Oh, I'm so glad that, like, all my theories were like, yes, there's something going on here. Yes! Okay. I'm just glad I got him.
Yeah. Anyway.
Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? Now, what shows when the first crime took place?
If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card. Oh, an ID card record.
Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel to the evidence room at...
Let's see here. 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Ah! Miles Edgeworth! Just what have you done?
I never would have figured you'd have the nerve, boy.
Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure it out. To figure out it couldn't have been me.
Nope, I ain't getting it.
I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood.
That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer.
I wouldn't have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room.
Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7777777. Talk about a lucky number.
But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 7777777.
7 sevens.
Yes.
Mr. Edgeworth, look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777777777. That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least, at present.
What? Explain yourself, son.
The ID number 7777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
But that's ridiculous. Just how?
I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how that's how the prosecutor's office operates.
I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself.
Slander, is it? Okay, let me ask one question.
Yes?
No, not to you, to her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana?
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number. And it's not 7777777.
Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing. About that incident.
The SO9 incident?
Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence?
Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defender, just what are you saying?
I'll ask you again. I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor.
gin?
I'll ask you for a gin one more time. I don't know.
A gin or a gin?
Yes. A magic
A
genie.
gin.
Like it's a alcohol that has like you rub the bottle and a genie comes out.
Oh, a gin. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look at me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you didn't.
I don't... Oh, sorry.
I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence.
See? That's what I'm talking about.
No. No! Order! 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 Order!
Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day.
The fourth day?
No, it's still just the third.
Oh.
Because this is the second day, so...
Oh, okay, okay. Shit.
Yeah,
Well, fuck, man.
indeed.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Did you want me to read that?
And we literally just read it.
Right, so... Alright. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dart killings.
Sounds like everyone's heard of these killings but me.
Lana wanted Dart convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me.
What do you mean, what happened to you?
It's all there in the file. Joe Dart's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence.
But what do you have to do with those killings, Emma?
On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dart tried to kill me.
What? He tried to kill you?
Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me.
So that means you...
Yes, I was a witness in the Joe Dart trial.
I didn't see that one coming.
It's literally in the file that she's a witness.
Yeah.
It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together. What? She finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting in the office.
Joe Dark.
It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up.
Jake Marshall's brother.
Joe Dart tried to take me hostage. But before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then,
What happened?
I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now.
A permanent picture?
I don't remember the moment when Dart stabbed Mr. Marshall.
So you weren't able to testify about that?
No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why Lana Well, she made up the crime.
Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence?
The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence, and Mr. Edgeworth used it.
Edgeworth?
Yes. But I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened.
So it's true, even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence.
After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold, like she is today.
She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in that incident the crime occurred?
Dark knocked Mr. Marshall and raised his knife.
Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl.
I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms.
Poor Emma. You've been through so much.
I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good.
2 years ago. You must have been 14. That's understandable.
Once it was all over, I had made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies, and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any.
I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma.
What is it?
You said you were in Lana's office at the time, right?
That's right.
Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor?
Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day.
Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police?
Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office.
But why did he run all the way to your sister's office?
Because the detective offices in the question room are right across from the elevator.
Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she?
No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force.
What? That's news to me.
After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor.
Lana used to be a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. Well?
So now it's at the detention center to talk to Lana?
Yeah.
Lana. Mr. Wright.
No,
Yeah,
that's Lana.
Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble.
Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type.
Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks.
Lana, Emma told me about you.
Oh?
About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office.
That's right.
Could you fill me in on the details? Especially that unusual change of job?
I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright.
A lot of revelations were uncovered into trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago.
Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul.
Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, At 5:15, there is no murder at the police department.
Tell me it's not true, Lana, what the witness, Miss Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me.
I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before.
It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together.
Chief Gant?
He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed.
Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened?
I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office.
Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago.
2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark.
Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right?
Yes. Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations.
They even had the same office?
We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence.
Man, that must fucking really suck, because, like, here is Officer Jake Marshall, right, or detective at the time, and he's, like, working with his brother for the first time. He's like, oh, man, I'm finally working with my brother.
I'm going to show him up. I'm going to be the better brother and prove to him I'm just as good as he is.
Things are going to go great, you know, two brothers working together, and then Neil fucking gets killed.
By the person that they're investigating.
Right. Imagine what it must have done to Jake. I mean, obviously we see the results, but still.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
And then being, like, demoted on top of it.
Right.
Because of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Ugh. Anyway.
That was when his final murder took place.
When he tried to murder Emma.
Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me.
Now you tell us?
Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me.
So, you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana?
It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood.
3 bodies?
Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious.
What did you do?
To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her.
Can't blame her. After all, her sister must have gotten... After all her sister must have gone through.
After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest.
Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident?
That's right. Quite a coincidence.
I don't buy it.
What are you saying?
There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance.
But that case was solved 2 years ago.
At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved.
Officer Marshall, yes. His actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories.
That case just might not be over yet.
Hmm?
Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right?
Yes, and the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The chief's office.
Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office. The site of the final SL9 murder. Okay, well, I guess...
To the criminal affairs department, and from there I guess we can...
Go to the police department. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere.
Things seem kind of quiet around here today.
You're right. The chief of detectives seems the same though.
Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to?
Right. We can come back here later. Although first, whoops.
You're not gonna...
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to them. Yeah, man, Mr. Chief Detectives. What? Dark case may have been fabricated? That's what I thought all along. I just never bothered to tell anyone. Now there's a guy who cares about his work. That must be one of the detectives. That's it. The villain used a time machine. Very clever indeed. That would explain the alibi. The future might not be so far away after all. Good grief. Howdy, Bambina.
Oh, Mr. Marshall.
I never thought things would turn out the way they did when I woke up this morning. Casey da Sira. Although I have to say it in his accent. Casey da Sira. Close enough. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had been run out when old Billy dried up this morning.
Billy?
Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go into the evidence room today, partner.
But, Mr. Marshall, why did you do it?
Why do prospectors head west? If there were ever a case I need to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting the steak lunch today. Something I was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean the switchblade with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, all right. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised.
A question?
The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there is a good chance that the knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us.
The scars of the SL9 incident left behind.
I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I just made detective when I went down. It was our first case together.
How old was he, your brother?
He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the greatest honor of that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? I knew it. What do you look at me like that for? It's an honor for prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have been really close with his brother.
The day the SL9 incident took place, that was the same day as...
That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall, there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to seal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently, someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence in the locker was empty. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough to not be too obvious. They?
Who are you talking about?
Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Sky. The investigation lead, Damon Gant, and his second-in-command, Lana Sky. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of the duo. That case was the biggest step in both their careers. As the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentioned it, Emma said something like that too.
Tell me, what happened to my sister?
Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret. It all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict, but someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today.
Okay.
Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina.
Well, shit, now I just kind of feel bad for him.
Yeah.
He didn't even technically, do anything violently wrong.
I mean, it is technically a crime to try and steal evidence, even if he didn't succeed.
Well, I mean, it was an attempted theft, but if it wasn't there to steal, then...
He also assaulted a police officer.
As a police officer, so, yeah, I mean, I guess.
Yeah. Look, that patrolman is saluting the other guy. So I cuffed the lot, right? Did he know what he does? What are you, a moron? I'm an undercover agent.
Oh, man, I hate it when that happens.
I guess he wasn't... I'm sorry.
I guess he wasn't saluting, he was just listening to how his friend messed up.
They make a good pair. Oh, okay, apparently I can't go to the
Underground
office.
parking lot?
I guess that's where I gotta go.
Oh, alright.
No one's here today, not even Miss Star.
Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are.
But we proved in court today that on that day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15.
Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case.
But instead, it looks like we ended up just making Lana look even more guilty.
Hang in there, Lana.
I've got to find my answers by tomorrow. Okay, well, I guess I'll go to Edgeworth.
I mean, Mr. Edgeworth isn't here.
Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee? He took a real beating in court today.
Yeah, with Lana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago.
I guess we'll all have to come back later.
Well, shit. Wait, is there like a... I mean, there's nothing we can do at the police department either?
I thought I was going to be able to go to the office of the chief of police, but...
And we're back at the criminal affairs department.
This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted.
That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes.
Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to me. He actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did, and the decision about what to do, about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those.
Sir? We'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office.
Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor.
Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything.
Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
You can click on the computer again. I don't know if it says the same thing or not, but... Yep, says the same thing. Never mind.
There we go.
Alright. Wow, this is certainly,
Fancy.
ornate, yes.
Whoa, where am I?
In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door.
Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it?
Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach.
Though I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes.
That was me.
Oh, my bad.
I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. I never could remember where C was.
Oh, it's you two! Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Righto! Have you been swimming lately? Why do you always ask me that? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Miss Marshall's misconduct. And Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean the forged evidence. 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate her work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. Okay, well, I guess we can look at that later. Anyway, I like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together.
Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That case is long since over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out! I have a meeting to attend!
Looks like we aren't welcome.
It seems that the case isn't over with yet, after all.
What do you mean?
Chief Gant denied a request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he didn't want us looking around in there.
You mean like a clue?
There's gotta be a way we could get inside the chief's office.
Get the other chief to sign a warrant?
I mean, maybe.
Or Gumshoe? Yeah. Hey, pal. Speak of the devil.
Right. Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting?
I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee.
Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop.
Say, have either of you seen Edgeworth?
Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask?
He's under fire for both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle's between you two in court.
That sounds serious.
Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has a whole world after his blood. Yikes.
Well, in the next episode, we'll talk to, Gumshoe.
Gumshoe.
Yeah.
Alright.
See you guys next time.
Bye.